Good morning again, everyone. Welcome back again to the KSR YouTube channel. And it has come to my attention again that YouTube is unsubscribing people, and that's not cool. YouTube, if you're listening, YouTube, you need to fix that. But anyways, if you like our channel, please go ahead and make sure you have subscribed and click the notification bell, because that makes sure that you stay subscribed, at least according to what people are telling me. When you click the notification bell, that makes sure that you stay subscribed, as well as you get an email, so you will also get a notification on your phone when we release a new video. And I'm trying to get into the habit of doing a video every 2 or 3 days, but with all the stuff we've got going on and trying to get projects in and out of here, it's a little tough, but we're getting there. But today we've got some work to do on Lee's Viper. Next weekend is the season opener for Trans Am 2021. We have won this race 4 of the last 6 years. So we are hoping to have another good start to the season. I'm going to do what's called a set down. Not a set up, a set down. And basically what that is, when we go to a track, I make changes in some of the different springs in the car to try and tweak the corner balances to make the car turn one direction, better or worse. I also double check all of the shock settings, both on the on all the knobs that are on the shocks. And what that does is that lets me have a kind of like a baseline to return back to. Lee was real happy with how the car was handling. We had a little bit of corner exit push that I'm going to try to deal with a front sway bar adjustment. I'm going to soften the front bar a little bit. And we also have some new brake rotors we're going to put on it to start the season, and I'll show you those in just a minute. We actually have to assemble the rotors to the rings. But for now, we're going to get this thing pulled over, and actually, how about you go for a ride with me? We'll pull this thing over and put it in the bay. A little bright with the sun outside. About to hear the radio. No?
Channel 1.
Jesus, loud. All right, fire in the hole. All right, so we're gonna get to work on this thing and take you guys along for the ride. right, so what you saw us doing there was recording all of the measurements on where the shocks ended up. And I do take notes of that stuff when we're at the track, but going back and double checking them when we get it back in the shop, it's a lot more, let's just say it's a lot less stress, and I know that I'm going to be getting it perfectly right when I'm here in the shop as far as all my recording. And we went ahead and corrected the alignment. I had a little bit too much camber in the left rear, so we balanced that back out with where I wanted it set. Reset the toe, and now we're going to be building new brake rotors. And we've got some AP Racing rotors, and I ordered them in burnished, which basically means that they're already pre-bedded with the brake pads that we're going to use. So we're trying a new brake pad combination from Fabrication Racing, and we had been running a different brand, but we're going to try some of these out. These are supposed to be a hot ticket. We get all this stuff from Essex Racing up in, I think they're in North Carolina, but they've been helping us out with rotors for a while, but we're going to be switching to their brake pads and their fluid for this year. And they actually have a brake pad dyno, and I'm going to go up to their place at some point and actually video the brake pad dyno and a set of rotors being bedded in. So if we look at this rotor right here, you can kind of see, maybe you can, yeah, you kind of can. So it's a used rotor. Well, what the heck's up with that? So what brake pads and brake rotors need to do is they kind of need to be, need to get to know each other before you really put the car on track. Well, and it's more commonly called bedding in the brake pads and brake rotors. So what we actually do with, or what any brake pad does, is it transfers a layer of material onto the rotor, and that grips better than just the raw pad on the plain rotor. I think I'm explaining that in a way that's good enough to understand, but that is hard to accomplish with brake pads because they need an extremely high temperature to transfer that initial layer of material. Well, I can't exactly take this thing out on the street out here and go 150 miles an hour and bed the brakes in. That wouldn't be smart. I mean, it'd be fun, but it wouldn't be smart. Anyways, so they have a machine where they can do this in a controlled environment and a really consistent environment, because not only on the car, the front brakes do a lot more work than the back brakes. So trying to get the fronts bedded in and the backs bedded in without overheating the fronts, it's just aggravating. So we order the brake rotors in with them already pre-bedded to the pads we're going to run. We're taking all of the rotors and pads that are on the car, which so these are the pads and rotors we ran at Sebring in the last video where the car was at Sebring, but different pad material. So these pads and rotors are matched to each other, and we're going to take all of them off, put them in a box, have them as spares, maybe use them on the black car, figure out what we're going to do with them eventually. Or we'll just have them in case Lee doesn't like this pad combination, and then we'll put all the old setup back on that we know he's okay with. Like, we thought there was room for improvement in the brakes, so we're going to try something else. Always got to keep trying, because everybody's coming after us. We got a bullseye on us being two-time national champions now. So I'm going to time lapse the brake rotor building, and you can kind of see how the brake rotors come. Obviously they won't bolt to the wheel like that, or won't bolt to the hub of the car like that. So we got us a new set of brake rotor hardware. Get this thing all put together and away we go. All right, so for 2021, actually this has been allowed in the rules for a while, but we've never taken advantage of it. Just hadn't had the time. But the field is tightening up and we want to try and take any advantage that we can get. So we are adding some side skirts to the car. And what I've got to do is fit them. The rules say that they can be as wide as the bottom of the front tires. So hopefully I can get this fit. We'd have to still dyno the car with our restrictors for 2021. They've adjusted our restrictor size again. So we've got to dyno it, which will come later in the video. And then I've got to do some custom stuff with the side skirts to try and make them fit. But first I got to check the width of them. And the side skirt widening the center of the car, the area under the car should be low pressure. So low pressure should be in some form sucking the car down to the ground. Even if it's 20-30 pounds of extra downforce that we can gain, that's something that'll help the car get through the corners better. It's adding a little bit of weight, but it's low weight, and we're gonna actually change to a Lexan rear window and probably a different hood after this first race of the season. Just kind of running out of time here before this first event. So kind of follow along for the fitment of this side skirts, and gonna end up probably doing something custom, but we'll see if I can make all this happen by the end of the day. I gotta get to work.
Finally. 57 hours later.
57 hours? Not quite that much. Ugh. You got the nose?
Yep.
So over there, I've got it kind of set.
Okay.
I'm hoping that it lines up, so you have to stop me.
Just floor it.
Huh?
Just floor it.
Just floor it, yeah. Oh, shoot. Fire in the hole. good? Alright everybody, so what we're doing to run in Transam, we have to turn in a dyno graph of what the car makes for power at the with the restrictors that we're supposed to run. So we have never dynoed with these little tiny restrictors in there. So we're going to see just what happens on some dyno pulls. I have to make 3 pulls back to back to back to back, and back to back to back. Whatever, 3 pulls, and then we'll get this thing loaded off in the trailer, and then I'm headed to deliver the car down to Lee. So hopefully this goes well. You need to check the fronts again, like they shouldn't have gone anywhere, and you can put the wheel chocks back in the right front. All right, so that should satisfy the test for Trans Am. I'm not going to show you the actual numbers, but you can see how interesting it is that all these pulls, they lay right smack over each other. And we're going to get this thing off, put the last decal on it, and then I'm on the road. So thanks again for everybody watching and subscribing. We'll see you in the next one.